Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. This is another emergency video pre-uploaded last week to cover my absence away in Russia at St. Petersburg, where I'm broadcasting the Kings of the Sea World of Warships tournament finals, both EU and international. Right, now we've got that out of the way, who's sick and tired of watching high-tier World of Tanks replays? No, me neither. I can't get enough of them. However, I do realise that a lot of you are getting a little bit sick and tired of just seeing high-tier World of Tanks replays, and you may actually be interested in seeing replays featuring tanks that you actually own. And so that's what today's video is all about. This is Mango 1971 in the American Tier 5 tank destroyer, the T-67. Now, I kind of feel obliged to issue a parental guidance warning for this video, because if you're planning on watching this video with your children, you should know in advance there's going to be a lot of unnecessary cruelty to small tanks. At certain points throughout this video, the sheer level of abuse that these poor little underage tanks get subjected to is going to become, well, quite frankly, shocking and gratuitous, so you have been warned. I don't want to hear anybody complaining in the comments that their children have been emotionally scarred for life by what they've seen in today's video. You knew the risks when you came here. You made your choice. And with that disclaimer safely out of the way, and hopefully my ass well and truly covered, Mango wastes no time at all in inflicting unnecessary doses of cruelty straight away on the cutest tank in the game. The poor Lux doesn't even get the chance to burn to death. It's I did warn you, don't go looking at me. You were told fair and square exactly what to expect. The T-67 is considered somewhat overpowered in certain circles, and, well, there's an element of truth in that. It's got speed, agility and manoeuvrability to rival light tanks of the same tier, and a pretty decent 76mm gun. At the same time though, these things are not exactly difficult to kill. They only have 360 health and 19mm of armour. One of these things could shoot itself and be dead in 3 shots, assuming it was firing high explosive, and it would only take 6 seconds to do it. So, while there's definitely a certain element of truth in the claim that the T-67 is just a teeny little bit overpowered, it's not the same kind of overpowered as, for example, the Japanese Tier 5 Super Heavy, the OI Experimental, which has got so much armour and a big gun that anybody can pretty much climb into one of them, derp around the battlefield, and provided they at least have the sense to keep their front pointed towards the enemy, they're probably going to survive long enough, regardless of any mistakes they make, in order to do some damage and do reasonably well. That ain't going to work in the T-67. You actually do have to know what you're doing in this thing. Of course, the counter-argument there is that if you do actually know what you're doing in the T-67, if you know how to take advantage of camouflage and concealment and terrain opportunities to be able to safely bring the devastating damage per minute of this extremely rapid-firing 76mm gun to bear on the enemy, you can farm huge amounts of damage and experience just ripping the enemy team apart, most of whom are probably going to be Tier 4, if you're in a top-tier battle, as Mango is in this particular example, and some of which, it's entirely possible, may have only had World of Tanks installed for a day or 2 at the most. And that's also a fair argument. However, I would propose yet another counter-argument to the counter-argument. That works both ways. The enemy team may be hugely inexperienced and not really know what they're doing, but it's equally likely that that applies to your team as well. That being the case, if your team is getting slaughtered, and you're in a T-67 and find yourself last man alive against half a dozen enemy tanks, you only have 360 health, assuming you've taken no damage so far, and you only have 19mm of armour. If, on the other hand, you find yourself in exactly the same situation, but you're in an OI Experimental, you've got a gun that does 360 damage in 1 shot, and you've got 125mm of frontal armour. So which of those 2 tanks would you rather be in, under the same circumstances? Well, I kind of have to admit that under these circumstances, I'd far rather be in the T-67, because there is no way an OI Experimental could have claimed this many kills in this short period of time with the 120mm gun. Just wouldn't fire fast enough and would probably miss most of the shots. The T67, however, under these circumstances, it's a pretty good machine to be in. Nevertheless, I do still stand by the claim that the T67 is only an overpowered tank if you know what you're doing, and the OI Experimental is an overpowered tank regardless of whether you know what you're doing or not. You can make mistakes in a heavily armoured tank that you can survive and come back from. Mistakes that would just get you killed in something like this. Hopefully he's finally going to penetrate the side of that Churchill and get himself his Top Gun. There it is, 6 kills. Right. Somebody on the team's trying to cap. It's a T80, but it's going to take a minimum of 50 seconds for him to win by capping. And there are at least 2 enemy tanks who can see him and who are shooting at him. And so, yep, the T80 is dead. The Panzer IV-D is dead. The only other surviving tank on the team is a Lux, but he's running straight into the teeth of the enemy, so he's probably not going to survive for too much longer either. Meanwhile, Mango has his own cap situation to worry about. And there it is, it's the Hetzer. Puts the first shot into the drive wheel, blows his tracks off, immobilises him. Hetzer either doesn't have a repair kit or is too slow to use it, and he's dead, cap defended. Meanwhile, the Lux is not only still alive, he's also managed to get a kill. Hooray for the world's cutest tank. Kid's doing well. Best of luck to him. Not entirely sure how many of those enemy tanks he's been spotted by, but, well, if he can see them, they can probably see him. Let's just hope the kid can stay alive long enough for Mango to be able to relocate and come to his aid while those enemies are still spotted, something that you would definitely not be able to do in an OI Experimental. Okay, no enemy tanks spotted. You can't really blame the Lux for that. I mean, he doesn't have a huge amount of health left. He did have multiple enemies shooting at him. Well, there's one. We're going to have you, Sunshine. And I've no idea what happened to that shot. Where's he going? Not quite a cliff dive, but he is now out of line of sight. So obviously the Lux is hiding, because they're all going for him. Oh, come on. You really do need to keep the Lux alive. Safety in numbers and all that gives the enemy team something else to shoot at. There's a hit. Come on. Come on. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. The Lux is almost done. Come on, finish this guy. Oh, beautiful shot, beautiful shot. Take him. I missed. No, no. He managed to move. Oh no, the Lux is doomed. Cover your eyes, kids. Well, if you can't save him, you can at least avenge him. Okay. He's killed the T-28E, so that's kill number 8 and a Radley Walters medal. There are still 2 tanks left on the enemy team. A VZ-39 and yet another Lux. There are actually 5 of those little buggers in this battle. They seem to be quite popular. I wonder if I had anything to do with that. Hey, it's entirely possible. You never know. Although, you know, the Lux is just a fantastic little tank in its own right. It certainly doesn't need any help from me to be popular, but I'm claiming responsibility anyway. Purely and simply because I can, so meh. Right, anyway. Where are the little buggers? I mean, they were last seen overlooking the enemy cap, while the T-80 and the Panzer IV-D were being killed off. And one of them's got a couple of kills under his belt. Whether that's just down to luck remains to be seen. You can't just assume that the enemy don't know what they're doing, however. Well, you can, but it'll probably get you killed. It's always wisest to give the enemy the benefit of the doubt and plan accordingly. Luckily, Mango does still have all of his health. We have no idea how much health either the VZ-39 or the Lux has. And Mango's in a machine that only has 19mm of armour and can easily be penetrated by either of these guys, even if they're firing high explosive. Don't worry, Mango isn't trying to cap. He's not quite that stupid. This is quite a small map, and, well, at least one of those enemy tanks, the Lux, is easily fast enough to make it back, spot him, reset, potentially kill him, and whoops, that was close. Yeah, that could have been potentially very embarrassing. So, yeah, Mango's not trying to cap, because that would be very silly. The flip side of that, of course, is that anybody on the enemy team, and at least one of them are doing it right now, also attempting to cap, is on a very small map, and Mango's in a machine that can do 60 km per hour, and can easily make it from one end of the map to the other, with plenty of time to spot, shoot, reset, and potentially kill whoever thinks they're going to win this game by capping. At the same time, though, it never pays to underestimate your enemy. Only one of them is in the cap circle. We don't know which one it is, but the other one could be waiting. This could be an ambush. It's the Lux, and he did get spotted. Now, he has all of his health. He could just YOLO right in there and probably kill the Lux, and probably survive, but he doesn't know where the VZ39 is. So instead, he fakes doubling back. As soon as he's not spotted, he reverses direction again and heads around in order to observe the cap from the other side, because he doesn't know where that VZ39 is. He's seen a couple of John Wayne cowboy movies, and that smelled like a trap to him. So is he being too cautious, or was that in fact an ambush? And yep, there's the VZ39 in the perfect position to blow him away if he had charged down into that cap circle to stomp all over the guts of that very unfortunate little Panzer II Lux. Nice try, guys. Unfortunately, it turns out that Mango 1971 is a bit of an aficionado of John Wayne cowboy movies. And just like in those movies, when you see the Apaches coming over the hill whooping and hollering, it's not the ones you see that you have to watch out for. You know, I made that comment to my girlfriend a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "Who's John Wayne?" Really? Seriously? What are they teaching you kids in school these days? I don't know. Anyway, Mango 1971. He knows an ambush when he sees one, earning himself a Pools Medal, amongst other things, in the T-67 American Tier 5 tank destroyer. Mango 1971, thank you very much for sending that one in. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.